Growing tomatoes could be the most rewarding but also the most frustrating thing to do every year in your garden. In this video, I'm going to give you plenty of tips on how I grow my tomatoes, how to prune them, water them, and also some tips on how to make sure that your flowers pollinate so that you can get plenty of tomatoes this season. The first thing I want to go over is how I trellis my tomatoes. You can see here I built this trellis right here that I clipped my tomato rollers to, and all they are is a string on a roller here that you bring down to the base of your plant once they get about a foot tall, and you just clip them to the trunk of the plant. And as the plant grows, you just keep on clipping it, and this string essentially acts as a trellis to grow your tomatoes vertically. In order to grow tomatoes vertically though, you need to make sure you get the right varieties. These are indeterminate tomatoes, meaning there's no set growth pattern for these plants. Unlike a determinate tomato, which usually grow into a bushier style, they have a set time limit on how much they'll grow and how long they'll grow. But these right here, indeterminate, will grow all season long. And these vines can get pretty tall. They can get up to 10 feet, 12 feet, even taller, depending on the variety. Here in front of you, you see a bunch of cherry tomatoes. Right here in front, I have a Genovese. These are more of a larger beefsteak tomato. I want to go over how to prune your tomatoes to encourage them to grow vertically. So indeterminate tomatoes typically grow one main vine like this. Okay, and along this vine, you have your sets of leaves that grow off, these branches right here, you can see. And off of each intersection of the main stem and a branch, you're going to get what's called a sucker. A good example of that is right here. I have my main stem coming up, I have the branch right here coming off, and right out of this intersection, this corner, I have a sucker growing. And you can see right here, it's pretty much a whole nother plant that's growing off of your plant. I recommend to cut these off, because if you don't cut those off, your plant's energy is going to be directed here into the sucker, and we don't want that. We want the energy of the plant to be directed straight to our top here so that this can continue to grow vertically. So what you want to do is you want to come in here, you want to remove these suckers, and you want to try to get them when they're still small. You want to cut these suckers off when they're still small, because the smaller they are, the less plant matter you're taking off of the plant. You got to imagine, if this were to get bigger, say 2 to 3 times bigger, you're taking a larger portion of the plant off. Therefore, you're going to shock it, you're going to stunt it a lot more than if you take them off when they're still small. Another example, we have our main stem here coming up, keeps coming up, and right here you can see at this intersection of the main stem and a branch, I have this sucker growing out at an angle here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to take that out. If you keep going up, you see another one. There's the branch and the main stem right there, and out right here, this diagonal growth is another sucker. I'm going to take that off, and the reason they call these suckers is just because they suck energy away from the plant. It's really the only reason they call them that. Keep coming along the main stem here. You can see this is the main stem going up to our top. There's a branch right there, and coming out here diagonally is a sucker, and this one's gotten pretty large, so I want to make sure to take this one off just like that. So when you're growing vertically, it's very important to come in, take off your suckers so that all the plant's energy can be directed straight to your top. Now as your plant grows up along this string here, you're going to want to continue to clip it to the string to give it support. So all you do, these little clips right here, you can see they close like this and they click like that, and they close. And if you need to open it, you can open it. And right here on this inside part of the clip, it has these 2 little teeth right here, and what this does is it goes around the string, and these 2 little teeth will pinch the string and it'll hold it against the string so that they won't move. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull our plant closer to our string. Just bring it right here, pull a little tension on the string, and with this hand I'm just going to grab it like this so that I can close it when I'm ready. I'm going to bring it around the string, sit it on the inside there of those teeth. I'm going to bring it around my plant, and I'm going to clip it just like that. So now you can see this tomato plant is clipped, it's supported, and it's going to continue growing right here off of this main top. You can see another sucker right here coming off of this intersection of the main top and this branch right here. So I'm going to come in, I'm just going to pinch this off. You can see another small one right here. I'm going to pinch this one off. and now this plant is good to go. The next thing I want to talk about is pollinating your tomatoes. Now typically what happens on these tomato plants is they throw off these yellow flowers like this, and you can see there's a bunch. They come in a cluster. Typically bees or other pollinators will come into this, and what they do is they come up to the flower and their buzzing vibrates the flower and it drops the pollen inside of the flower onto the pistil, because these flowers are what they call perfect, meaning they have the male and female parts inside of the flower, so they have the pollen and the pistil in order to pollinate your fruit. Problem is, if you don't have bees in your garden, many times what will happen is these flowers will just dry up and they will not pollinate, and they'll just dry up and they'll fall off. So it really defeats the purpose if you're getting a lot of flowers but you're not getting fruit to set like this. Another way that these flowers pollinate is just with the wind. The wind can shake these around and the pollen will drop on the pistil. It's another way that these things pollinate. But what I like to do for added measure, added security, just to make sure that my tomatoes pollinate, is to come in with my finger and just tap on these flowers like this and just do it myself. This will give us the best chances for these to pollinate and to set fruit. So everywhere I see flowers, I come out here every day and I just tap them like that. Just tap them, just give them a nice tap. Come over here, we got more. We're just gonna tap them, just gently tap them like that. And I find that this helps me to ensure that my tomatoes set. As you can see, I've been doing it all season already. I'm already getting a good amount of tomatoes to set right here. So I'm getting this entire cluster that comes off of the plant is set fruit. The only one that didn't was this last flower right here. Actually it did. You can see a tiny little tomato in there. So this entire cluster of flowers that came off of my plant here pollinated. Now whether it's from the bees or the wind, or if it was from me tapping them, it's kind of hard to say, but me coming out and tapping them just really helps me to ensure that I'm getting the best chances of my tomatoes setting fruit. If you come over here, I have some Cherokee purple tomatoes. Right here I also came in and I tapped these flowers, and you can see that the fruit has set and they're starting to grow and swell up. So again, whether that was the bees or the wind, it's unknown. It could have been me tapping them, but I come out and tap them just to ensure and give me the best chances of my tomatoes setting fruit. On this side, you can see I have a cluster of Genovese tomatoes. I did the same thing here. On each of these clusters that comes off of the plant, I like to thin it to about no more than 7 tomatoes, because the more tomatoes you have on these larger tomato varieties, the more energy required in order to get them to become healthy and ripen. So I like to thin them out so that I get better quality tomatoes. And when I thin them out, all I really do is just cut off sections of this branch that comes off with the flowers, and I just thin these out to about 5 to 7 tomatoes. By me combining my trellis here, growing them vertically, pruning them the way I showed you, and making sure that they pollinate by tapping them and ensuring the best odds of pollination, I'm getting a lot of benefits out of growing my tomatoes this way. I'm getting better airflow between these plants, which will help reduce disease, pests, any issues that may arise like that. I'm also growing more in a smaller space because it's a lot cleaner way to grow your tomatoes. It makes maintaining them a lot easier, especially as they get taller. You're not going to have to bend over as much. It's going to make harvesting a lot easier as well, and it's going to allow you to plant a lot more plants in a smaller space. When it comes to watering your tomatoes, you definitely don't want to overwater them. It's better to space out your waterings to ensure that you're not overwatering, but when you do water, you want to give them a deep watering. Overwatering can lead to a lot of problems, such as blossom end rot, which is a brown spot you'll see at the bottom of your tomatoes. It can lead to root rot, which is detrimental to the plant, really harm your plant's health. So what I do is I have a drip system here that I turn on once, maybe twice a week, depending on the weather. These drip emitters are half a gallon per hour, so I turn them on for 1 hour every time I irrigate. These emitters are every 6 inches on this tubing, so I'm getting 1 gallon of water per hour every square foot in this garden bed, which is plenty of watering. I like to water less often, but give them a lot of water when I do. A good way to check if your tomatoes need water or your garden beds is to take away your mulch here like I have and just kind of dig around with your finger. And if you see that it's still moist in here, which in this case it is, then you know you're good, that the soil is moist. But if you were to do that and the soil was dry or on the drier side, then you know that your garden bed could use some water. You can also use a moisture meter, which I don't have. I just use my finger like I just showed you. But a moisture meter is also a good way to tell if your soil is too dry and needs water. On this video now, I'm going to link where you can find the videos where I built this trellis, how I installed these, how I prune, drop my strings from start to finish, so you can get a better idea on how to grow your tomatoes just like I'm growing them. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it useful, if you learned anything anything from this video, you can like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I'll be dropping a lot more videos this season on the rest of my garden, including my peppers, my cucumbers, and everything else that I have growing inside of my garden. Thank you for watching.